Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom. What does this mean? Multiverse twist or meaningless stunt? Let's get into it. As everyone knows,
Every world knows it.
Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom, and obviously we know him as Iron Man. Everyone knows him as Iron Man. Is he an Iron Man variant, or does it really not matter? So, Marvel casting Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom is a bit of a strange one. It's upset some fans, it's made some fans skeptical, it's made some fans, like myself, very excited. But why Robert Downey Jr. for Doom? Is he an Iron Man variant, or is this just a quick cash grab?
What is this?
Either way, Marvel casting Robert Downey Jr. has done nothing but generate hype for the movie. Everyone is talking about it. It's one of those things where no one actually really knows why they've casted him as Victor Von Doom. Essentially, yeah, it's a cash grab, but it's worked. Everyone is talking about why RDJ is Doom, and everyone has a theory on if he's a Iron Man variant, if, Universe 616 Tony Stark is a Doom variant. I'm here to tell you that it basically doesn't matter.
That's the first thing you said that wasn't batshit crazy!
I have a couple theories that I'm going to go over in this video, just two, and we're going to get the first one out the way that everyone has, is that either Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is an Iron Man variant, or that 616 Tony Stark is a Doom variant, So in the comics, Iron Man is adopted in a particular comic book run. I can't exactly remember what it's called, but he's adopted by the Starks, and this would actually line up with the MCU. When Iron Man goes back in time in Endgame and he meets Howard Stark, and Howard is saying that he's expecting to have their child soon, and Tony has a bit of a surprised look on his face because he's probably thinking that his birthday is not quite lining up in this time period.
What is this?
But he goes ahead with it, blah, blah, blah. And it's one of those sort of things where it does make you think, okay, the Starks probably did have a child, and maybe they lost the child and then adopted, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark instead, and that Tony's original origins was actually he's a Von Doom and that he's a Doom variant. And throughout the multiverse, there's a bunch of Robert Downey Jr.'s running around as Doctor Doom.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
There's also the theory that the TVA in the 616 have changed his origins, so they made it that the Starks adopted him, and that this would prevent Doctor Doom ever being introduced into the Universe 616, the sacred timeline. That's another possibility, because again, the TVA was all orchestrated by Kang, he who remains.
And just who are you?
I've been dubbed many names by many people. A ruler, a conqueror, he who remains, a jerk.
It does make you wonder, was 616 Tony Stark always destined to become Doom? And that the TVA policing the multiverse made it that he would never become Doom and always Iron Man? This would make sense. The only reason why Tony Stark became a hero was because of the events of Iron Man 1. He had to build the Mark 1 armor to escape from his captors. It's also interesting that the Mark 1 armor resembles Doctor Doom a little bit with the mask, but again, it's accurate to the comics, so you could throw that theory out the window. There's also the idea that if Tony survived the snap in Endgame, would he eventually have became Doom? Now, I don't really see this necessarily happening. I have a separate theory on this, which will be coming out soon, but I don't really see a way where Tony, after the snap, becoming Doctor Doom, because that's still not really Doctor Doom. 616 Tony Stark is established as Iron Man. That's who he is. That's how he's known by. I don't see him then turning evil and then calling himself Doctor Doom, because why? That doesn't make sense. Doctor Doom is his own identity. He's Victor Von Doom. I believe we're going to be getting a faithful version of Doom from Robert Downey Jr., and that's what we're going to get into. Iron Man being evil essentially is Superior Iron Man, which hopefully we'll be getting that in either Doomsday or Secret Wars, whether it's played by Robert Downey Jr., hopefully Tom Cruise, or a completely different actor. And again, Superior Iron Man isn't necessarily evil. It's Tony Stark without morals. A bit like how we sort of got with Tony Stark a little bit in the early phase of the MCU when he was doing a few questionable things and was kind of only caring about himself, and then gradually we get Tony to the events of Endgame where he's a completely different character to what we got at the start of Iron Man 1. So yeah, so what I believe is happening with Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom is that he's not necessarily a Stark variant, or that 616 Stark is a Doom variant. I think people are overcomplicating the connections here. My theory is that it doesn't matter. It straight up doesn't matter. This is no different than Chris Evans playing Human Torch and Captain America, or Michael B. Jordan playing Human Torch and then Killmonger. With the Multiverse saga, it's made a lot of films now canon that all take place throughout the multiverse. The X-Men films are now canon to the MCU. You know, Elektra, Blade, any of the old Punisher films, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man films, they're all canon now to the MCU. Meaning that Chris Evans' Human Torch is also canon to the MCU. No one's talking about whether Human Torch is actually a Captain America variant or that Captain America is Human Torch. And this goes the same way for Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Deadpool Wolverine has already given us the answer. In that film, we get the return of Chris Evans, which the audience are led to believe, like, oh, he's going to say Avengers Assemble.
I won't be happy until I've urinated on her freshly barbecued corpse and husk-fucked the charred remains while gargling Juggernaut's nuts.
He doesn't. He's Human Torch. Again, this could be the same version of Human Torch that we got from the 2005 Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, from those series of films. This also could be a completely different one, still played by Chris Evans. The point is, it doesn't matter. They just have the same face. It's the same actor, and it's going to be the same thing for Robert Downey Jr. I believe that Marvel do not want to tarnish the legacy of Iron Man, and necessarily making it that Iron Man is a Doom variant and that he became Iron Man instead, or that this version of Doctor Doom is a Tony Stark variant. It wouldn't necessarily tarnish it, but also at the same time, it's just quite simple. They just have the same face, and I'm sure they're going to explain it and maybe even go to depths a little bit in the film. They may not even touch on it. With Human Torch and Captain America, both similar characters in some ways. They're both heroes. As much as Johnny messes around and makes jokes and is unserious, he's still a hero. He still puts his life on the line, and he's still ready to sacrifice himself, much like Captain America. At the same time, Johnny's also reckless, makes jokes, a bit of a womanizer. Very different character in some ways to Captain America, but also at the same time, same but different.
Johnny!
And again, it's the same thing for Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom. Both brilliant scientists. In some comic books, Tony Stark becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. Well, actually, not some, maybe one. And in infamous Iron Man, Victor Von Doom becomes Iron Man. Also, at the same time, their personalities are similar but different. They're both arrogant. In some versions, they're narcissists. They're both extremely intelligent. They both have massive egos. But also at the same time, Victor Von Doom keeps to himself. He sits in his castle with his Doombots. He sort of lives in the shadows sometimes. Whereas Tony Stark is a womanizer. He likes to drink, he parties. Both same but different characters, much like Human Torch and Captain America. Anyways, the point that I'm making is that I don't think the casting is really that deep. I think we're going to get a true comic book accurate version of Victor Von Doom in this movie, as well as Secret Wars. But don't get me wrong, I do think Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom is going to play into the plot a little bit. I have a separate video coming out on my theories on that. But basically the point is that there's no secret reveal where Iron Man was going to become Doom, or that Tony Stark was adopted and he was always a Doom variant, or that this version of Doom is actually a Tony Stark variant. That is not the case here. This version of Doom, which by the way, Fantastic Four did explain this with the end credit scene where Doctor Doom shows up, and in that Fantastic Four film, it's very accurate. We're getting comic book accurate costumes for the Fantastic Four, as well as the silhouette of Doom that we got with the classic mask, the green hood. This version of Doom is comic book accurate. We know he's from Latveria, went to college with Reed Richards, but I don't think he's faced off against the Fantastic Four. I think he's going to start off as an ally, and I think with him being out of the picture where the chair's missing during the meeting and Latveria's there but there's no one representing it, I believe he's been off doing his own thing, and that's why Reed didn't contact him, to save their planet. Either way, the Fantastic Four, it's clear that they know who Doctor Doom is, and there's a reason why Sue didn't attack him in the after credit scene. I think he's going to start off as an ally, but as I said, I've got a separate video coming out on that. But the point is, this version of Doom is Robert Downey Jr. Vanessa Kirby plays the Invisible Woman. She said that Robert Downey Jr. was in the costume. They didn't show his face because they didn't want to pay him any more of the Marvel money. The dude makes enough as it is. This is a comic book accurate version of Doom, like we've been getting throughout the entire MCU since Endgame. We've been getting comic book accurate costumes. You know, when you look at what we got from Deadpool and Wolverine, the Marvels, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Brave New World. We've been getting very comic book accurate costumes. This version of Doom is going to be a true version of Doom. There's no way Marvel were going to let the fans down and turn it where the villain is really evil Tony Stark or superior Iron Man or an imposter. That's not going to happen. But what I will say is that Doctor Doom sharing the same face as Tony Stark will be one of the plot points in Doomsday. They're not going to be variants of each other. It's just going to be a random connection that may be explained, which will also explain why Captain America and the Human Torch share the same face. It's going to be no different than that, and I'm going to get into in a separate video on what Doom's plan is sharing Tony Stark's face. But either way you look at it, it is quite genius, because whether you say it's a cash grab or Marvel's desperate, it's worked. It's generated hype. Everyone's talking about it. No one quite knows why Robert Downey Jr. is Doom. Well, we know why. It's worked. When they had the reveal at San Diego Comic-Con and we had all those people wearing Doom masks, and then we had the one in the center, he took off his mask and it was Robert Downey Jr., it generated hype. It's still generating hype. Everyone wants to know why Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doom. And the thing is, it doesn't matter why he is. It matters on what he's going to do with sharing the same face. This version of Doom will be Victor Von Doom. It won't be Tony Stark. And it goes the same way with Captain America and the Human Torch. What Marvel's done here is quite genius, because everyone's talking about it. It's generated a lot of hype. They've paid Robert Downey Jr. silly money to come back, and whatever way you want to argue whether it's a cash grab or not, it's exciting. Robert Downey Jr. is a phenomenal actor. As much as he will always be known as Iron Man, his work in Oppenheimer was brilliant, and generally we know the guy has got range, and we know that he can pull off what needs to be done. He's put a lot of passion into this project with his posts on social media and his dedication to the role. We know he's been very hands-on set with the reshoots. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom? Do you think he's a variant? Do you think this is no different than the connection with Chris Evans as Human Torch and Captain America? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.